Shout out to G-Man Boxing.
You know, in about 2016, 2017, when British boxing was really doing very well in the UK, where it was just kind of on a high. You know, it was on a high. It was probably 2016, 2017 were peak years for, you know, the way British boxing was. You would fight a Triple G coming over here. You had people wanting to fight in the UK. You know, had Eddie Hearn, you know, putting shows on. You had Frank Warren putting shows on. It was good times. During which time Eddie Hearn stated that there'll be more pay-per-views on Sky, but therefore that will mean better Sky Fight Night shows. Alright? Now, here we are in 2021, albeit things a bit different. You know, they are, in terms of the way the economy is. But here we are now looking at a card, May 1st, which is being headlined by Derek Chisora, Joseph Parker. Whilst I like this fight, I do like this fight. Is it a pay-per-view headliner? No, I don't believe it is. Right? I personally don't believe it is. It's a good fight. It's a very good fight. Is it a pay-per-view headliner? No. Would it be a good co-main event on Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury? Oh, hell yeah. You know, it was meant to be a co-main event on Regis Prograis versus Josh Taylor back in 2019. Is it a headline act for pay-per-view? My opinion, no. Right? Eddie Hearn, how does he get around that? Well, he says that you're going to see a stacked undercard. Okay. You know, fair enough. If an undercard is good, it can deter from potentially a main event that shouldn't be pay-per-view. Katie Taylor versus Natasha Jonas. For fans of women's boxing, that's an interesting fight. It's a rematch from London 2020 or 2012. But for people who aren't, it's not really their cup of tea. And I don't know a massive amount of about women's boxing, but I know Katie Taylor is leagues above Natasha Jonas, right? From what I've seen anyway. So there's that. There'll obviously be more fights announced to this card, obviously, but these are the ones we have. We have Eubank Jr. versus Marcus Morrison. Done a video on that. Not going to get into that. Joke of a fight. Complete mismatch. Leave that to one side. Yeah, Eubank Jr. is a name, but come on now. You're putting him in there against Marcus Morrison on a pay-per-view. Seriously. And then finally, Craig Richards getting a world title shot at Dimitri Bivol. Again, like, names. Good fighters. But they're not, like, you're putting them on in mismatches. And you want people to pay for this in a time where, as I've stated before, people don't have as much disposable income. That's just a fact, right? With everything that's been going on, a lot of people are out of work, a lot of people unemployed, a lot of people living from paycheck to paycheck. I don't see why we should be forking out some of our hard-earned money. And again, I'm just using this. If you have other means to watch this fight, go for it. But there are people who do want to pay. There are people out there who do, you know, they pay the subscription. They say, okay, I'll pay to get it on, you know, Sky, this, that, and the other. And then you give them a card like this, and you say 20 quid, 25 quid. I'm sorry, but that's just not on. And I will happily pay for a pay-per-view if I feel it's worthy. You know, I paid for White Povetkin, right? I paid for pretty much all of AJ's pay-per-views. I didn't pay for Pulev. I paid for both Wilder versus Fury fights. You know, I'm happy to pay for it if the product is good. You know, but this just isn't. And I hate to sound negative. I hate to sound like I'm moaning, but it's just not. You know, if you look back, right, Carl Froch fought several big fights. Fought Lucian Bute. That was on Standard Sky. You know, Dylan White fought Lucas Brown. Lucas Brown only had one loss did he even have a loss? I don't think he had a loss at the time. But that was on Standard Sky. You know, they put plenty of fights, good fights, on Standard Sky, you know. And obviously now, as I said, it's not as straightforward nowadays with the economy the way it is. But still though, I mean, any opportunity to put something on pay-per-view, it's just going on pay-per-view. Like, look at the card we got for Usyk versus Chisora. You tell me it wasn't a pay-per-view card. Like, that was essentially a Sky Fight Night card that you had to pay for. Essentially, that's what that was. And like I said, I don't want to sound like someone who's, you know, moaning like that. That's not me. But come on now. 20 quid, 25 quid for this? And a part of me thinks that this is more Sky wanting to put this on pay-per-view. Obviously, both fighters want to get paid. That's fine. I'm all for fighters getting paid, etc., etc. But I reckon it's the fact that Sky and Eddie Hearn are nearing the end. I think May is their last month. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it is. And I fully believe that Eddie Hearn will take the Zone, and he'll take just Matchroom UK to the Zone as well. The Zone currently is £2 a month, €2 a month, irrespective of where you are. It's a great deal. I don't know why anyone would be unhappy with something like the Zone. You're paying a very low amount a month for just boxing. You pay a Sky subscription, it's 60 quid a month. You're getting loads of other sports. But if you don't like them other sports, you're paying for all them other sports. Whereas the Zone, it is exclusively boxing. I know in the US they give you other things as well, but over here it's just exclusively boxing. That's what I want. I can watch F1 by other means, but for boxing, yeah, I'm happy to have it all on one platform. So I think that is one of the reasons why we're getting this on pay-per-view. But still, it's really not good that a card like this, and bear in mind, I have nothing wrong with Parker Chisora. It's a good fight. It's not a pay-per-view fight. I'm not compelled to pay for that fight on pay-per-view. Look at Chisora, or look at Dylan White versus Joe Parker. That was a good fight. That undercard was good. They originally wanted Kell Brook on the undercard. That fight didn't happen. He meant to fight Brandon Adams, I think the guy's name was. If you go back there, didn't happen. But on the undercard, we had Chisora versus Takam. That was a hell of a fight. Who else did we have? We had Conor Benn versus Cedric Payne in a rematch. That was a good fight. Who else did we have? We had Katie Taylor on that. We had someone else as well. I can't remember exactly. Oh yeah, we Dave Allen versus Nick Webb. There were some good fights on that card. Competitive fights. Seriously, Dave Allen versus Nick Webb, that was a competitive fight. Takam versus Chisora, hell of a fight, very competitive. And the main event, obviously, you had Parker versus Dylan White. We've got Eubank Jr. versus Marcus Morrison and Craig Richards, with the greatest of respect to both men, against Dimitri Bivol. Yeah, a name in Eubank Jr. and a very good fighter in Dimitri Bivol. But come on now, mismatches. On pay-per-view, we're paying for the privilege to see that. And God knows there's still room for another 2 or 3 fights. God knows what is going to be announced in the interim. I don't think it's on putting that on pay-per-view. And I want to know in the comment section what you guys think. And are you going to pay for it? Simple as. Or are you like me going to watch a cracking main event? Is that what it's going to be? It's going to be a cracking main event. Let me know in the comment section. I hope I haven't come across as being Mr. Negative and all that. Because me, I try not to come across like that. But just when I look at this and when I think about it, it just does kind of make me make me think like that. Like, what the hell? Why are you putting that on pay-per-view? I'd be interested to know in the comment section, are you going to be paying for that? I've known people who've been affected by what's going on as I kick my stand. I hope it didn't mess up the picture. But I know people who've been affected by what's going on in terms of they're living from paycheck to paycheck. And, I'm just like, Jesus, and I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking of buying this card. I couldn't do that. I couldn't just chuck 20 quid at that. And it's just like, that's that's shit. That they can't do that. And then we're getting cars this on pay-per-view. It is what it is. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Are you going to pay for this? What you think of the card? Leave in the comment section. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I haven't, as I said, come across as, moaning what. That is not what I want to come across as. But I just got to say what I see. And I'm seeing, mutton dressed as lamb. Simple as. Let me know in the comment section. Hope you enjoyed it. #GMansRocks. All that good stuff. I'll talk to you.